going to take a close look at one particular part of your skeleton. It's made of bone, and it runs right down your back. So what else could it be than your backbone? Well, nothing else. Because your backbone is the subject of the day. And that means that I'm the subject of the day because I am your backbone. And there's a lot more to me than just being a bone in your back. I have another name, too. The spine. Doesn't matter what you call me, though. Backbone, spine, or anything else. I still do the same job for you. And I do it right here. Starting up at your head and running all the way down your back. Your back curves a little, so I curve with it. Well, actually, it's the other way around. Because I curve a little, your back curves. And I'm not just one bone. I'm made up of a lot of separate little bones. They're all stacked one on top of another to make the long spine. Each separate bone is held together by special tissues called muscles and ligaments. The muscles move me and hold me together, and the ligaments stretch like rubber bands to keep me from moving too far. But boy, I sure can move. And that helps you move, of course, from side to side, forward or backward. We can even twist. I'm a very movable, very flexible group of bones. But that in itself could present a problem. I could wear out from so much flexing and moving, but I don't, because of one more part that I have, my discs. In between each separate bone, there's a little part called a disc. These discs act like little cushions. They keep each little bone separated from its neighbor, so they don't rub together every time you bend or twist. They can even act like little shock absorbers when they have to. And that's every time you jump up and down. Each disc acts like a little spring to keep all of the bones from bumping into each other. So, all together, with my muscles, ligaments, and these discs, I do a pretty good job of taking care of myself. Well, like everything else in your body, there's a name for those little bones. They're called vertebrae. When there's more than one, that is. Just one is called a vertebra. Anyway, there are 7 vertebrae, 7 of these little bones, up in your neck. That's so you can move your head. Your skull sits up on top of them, and since they can flex up and down and back and forth, your head can look up and down and back and forth. Below the 7 neck vertebrae, there are 12 bones that are called the thorax vertebrae. They can also move and twist, but they have another job too, and that's to hold the rib cage that goes around this part of the body and protects your chest. Below the thorax vertebrae are 5 waist vertebrae. They are heavier and stronger than the rest of the vertebrae in me because they have to be. They have the hardest job. They have to support 2 things, the rest of your body and the things that the rest of your body decides to pick up. Now that can amount to a lot of weight, and those 5 vertebrae have to be able to support it. Down below those 5 waist vertebrae, almost at the end of your spine, is the sacrum. In one way, it's 1 bone. In another, it's 5. What it actually is 5 separate vertebrae that have grown together to become 1 bone. It doesn't really develop like this until you're about 25 or 30 years old. All through your life, though, it has an important job. And that's to connect the rest of me, the rest of your spine, to your hip bones. As far as you're concerned, that's the last step. Your spine joins your hips, and your skeleton is happy. But you want to know something? You have a tail. That's right. Oh, it's not much of a tail, but it's a tail nevertheless. It's made of just a few separate bones that, like the sacrum, have joined together. Imagine that. You've got tail bones, but no tail. Most people believe that many, many eons ago, before human beings were humans as you know them, they had tails. But this is all that's left. It's just my smallest part now and very unimportant. Ah, well, that's the way it goes. Anyway, there are a lot of my parts that, even today, are important. Altogether, I have 26 bones, 7 in the neck, 12 in the thorax, 5 in the waist, 1 at the hips, that's the sacrum, and just 1 tailbone. And altogether, all of these pieces support your body. Well, that's what I look like from the outside. Now let's take a look at what goes on inside me. That's right, I have an inside. I'm hollow. I have what amounts to a hidden tunnel running all the way up inside me. In fact, it runs all the way up to your brain. This tunnel runs all the way from the base of me to the skull and gets up to the brain through an opening inside the skull. As you probably know, the brain has to send its messages, and it has to receive its messages from all parts of the body. The brain connects itself to most of these parts through me. Actually, through the many nerve fibers that live inside me, that live inside that tunnel. Now, this is a piece of rope, but it gives you a very good idea of what those nerves look like that are inside me. The thick part, the rope part, is inside. That's all the nerves that are running from all the parts of the body up to the brain. The separate strands, the string parts, are the parts of the nerves that are running out of me to each of the separate organs of your body. Now, part of my job, as your backbone, is to protect those nerves. All of those nerves gathered together, like the rope, are called the spinal cord. Your spinal cord is an important part of what's called your nervous system. So, as you can see, I become an important part of that system since I protect it. You've probably noticed that I am not perfectly straight. I have 2 curves in me, one in and one out. Those curves should be there, but they shouldn't be too big, just a gentle curve in and out. Sometimes, though, kids just don't stand as straight as they should. They don't try to have good posture, and that means they make me curve more than I should, and that can cause problems. In fact, you'd think that some of these kids thought I was a pretzel or something. I can bend this far, but it isn't good for me, especially for an extended length of time. And what isn't good for me isn't good for you. In fact, if you're like most people, you probably do all sorts of leaning and bending and twisting and lifting that just isn't good for me. And again, what isn't good for me isn't good for you. In other words, things like this hurt. So, I hope you get the point. You've heard it 1,000 times. Stand up straight, pull in that tummy, hold your head up straight and tall. It's all for your own good, really. And mine, too. You see, this is about the way you should sit, nice and straight. You're helping me when you do, but remember, when you help me, you help yourself. So, for goodness sake, sit up straight. Well, for my sake, anyway. And for my sake, this is the way you should lift something heavy. Your legs are a lot stronger than I am, so let them do the lifting. Bend your legs, keep me straight. Then grab whatever it is you're lifting and straighten out those legs to stand up. That's a lot better for me and you. Well, there you have my story. Call me your backbone or call me your spine, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the fact that I'm made up of 26 small bones called vertebrae. Or that I'm very flexible. I can twist and turn and bend every which way. Without me, you'd have a very hard time working and playing at things you don't even think about right now. And because you do so much twisting and turning, and that means that I have to do so much twisting and turning, I have tiny cushions in between each one of my vertebrae. Those cushions are called discs, and they keep my bones from rubbing against each other. Part of my job is to support your skull, but at the same time to allow it to move, so you can turn your head every which way. Another part of my job is to support your rib cage bones. And speaking of supporting, I not only support you, but I also have to support all of the heavy things that you carry. And most of this kind of support is done with my waist section. Below my waist section is my sacrum. This is the part of me that connects to your hip bone, and then to your legs. And there's one more little part of me left. My tailbone. They're not very important, though, because you don't happen to have a tail. The rest of me is very important, though, and one of the reasons is that I have a tunnel inside of me that carries your spinal cord. That spinal cord lets your brain get its signals to and from all the rest of the parts of your body. I have a little bit of a curve to me. That's why your back has a little bit of a curve to it. I shouldn't be made to curve too much, though. So stand up straight when you walk. Don't slouch like this. And stand straight when you sit. Things like this can hurt. They might not hurt you right away, but someday you'll be able to feel it. And speaking of trying not to hurt me, be careful when you lift things also. Lift with your legs, not your back. Legs are a lot stronger than backs. So, that way, you can lift and carry heavy things, and I'll hardly even know it. You'll be happy. And you want to know something? I will too.